And now the 419 with Gretchen DeBacker, Matt Killam, and Kevin Mullen.
Welcome into a Wednesday edition of the 419, powered by WGTE, presented by Wheatro Wealth Management. I'm Kevin Mullen, alongside
Gretchen DeBacker,
Matt Killam.
We got a great show on deck for you.
It's the first Wednesday of January.
It is.
Yeah.
That's what she brings
Happy
to the
New Year.
show.
How are you guys surviving the first week?
Can you still say Happy New Year?
I think so. I think you can do it for 30 days.
I'm 100% in on that.
Even if especially if it's people you haven't seen.
Okay.
I do it in my emails because people love it. It's delightful.
They love it. I was going to say, I hesitate to say it too long, because then it acknowledges that I don't remember that I've already seen you. Because I'm with you. I think I get it once, like the first time I see you in the year. But if I don't see you until July,
I assume no one remembers when they've seen me or not.
okay,
And you're right.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So I just have 30-day sort of cutoff, if you will.
I do think it's a nice transition into, how about this weather, huh? So it gives you a 30-day break of that.
It's right after daylight savings time. You go right into the new year, then the cold. It's a thing.
And then it goes into, how about this heat?
Yeah.
See, this is all wellness nuggets.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. So we're talking Wellness Wednesday with our friends from Workspring
It's our
today.
first one. Excited.
And I don't want the watchers or listeners to think that these are the faces of wellness.
No.
Right. Because we certainly are not that.
We are here to learn.
We're mostly doing it to benefit ourselves.
That's
I think.
right. And
Yeah.
we desperately need it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like I was trying to come up with a day of the week that started with a B, and there isn't one.
No.
You're going to be a great dad.
You think I'm going to be a great dad?
Yeah.
Oh man, I already have failed that one. But
boy.
so can we talk about that on Wellness Wednesday? Is that part of parenting tips? So we're gonna
think so.
bring that in throughout the year.
Yeah, I think it's the whole boat. We obviously have a personal connection with our guests as well as an institutional one. But it's a topic for the new year, right? New year, new me. Wellness is a really commonly used word or philosophy, but candidly, I don't know exactly what it means. I don't know what realistic goals are. I don't know what warning signs are. But as we all try to be better, these are things that can help us individually and actually help the people around us, right? Which the show is about. It's about our community. So how can we strive to be better and more healthy, I think is kind of what the thinking is.
Yeah, it makes sense. And to be more consistent so that it's something beyond January, maybe,
Yeah.
because this is something we're going to continue throughout the year.
And also something, God forbid, that also makes you not feel good, right? So if you're running out to join a gym and in 30 days you realize that you've only been once, there's another thing that makes me feel crummy. So it just, there's a lot of sophisticated things, but a lot of practical things too that I'm really interested in hearing. We all work or have worked for big institutions or small ones, but the reality is that molecularly speaking, we all have more in common than we don't. So what are aspirational things, what are inspirational things, or what are things that we should wrap our heads around to make ourselves better and thus making our village better, if you will.
And the things that we're going to tackle every Wednesday on this program, and of course sponsored by our good friends and supported by our good friends at Workspring, who are going to help us tackle all of these wellness-related topics. I think you said it well, Matt. That this show is about making people feel better about our community.
Sure.
And I think this is an opportunity for us every week to also make people feel better in our community. The chance for us to do that as well.
Yep.
So it's the 419, powered by WGTE and presented by Wheatro Wealth Management. It's Wellness Wednesday, and I guess we could say it officially starts next. We'll be right back.
To me, community means connecting to others.
What will it really take to bring peace to Toledo's neighborhoods?
We're a community committed to education. Discover new ideas, dive into exciting subjects, and engage with the world around you.
It's all chapters in a book.
I would send them personally a t-shirt. Crime doesn't pay in the Old West End, pass it on. That's how we cleaned up the neighborhood.
Brings back memories that you don't think are there,
WGTE Public Media invites you to Get Out and Play Day.
The people of Toledo have really become family. They walk in and it's just like, hey, it's so good to see you.
Hello there and welcome to a WGTE Public Media Town Hall meeting.
WGTE. where you come to watch, listen, and learn.
I love PBS Kids.
Welcome back into the 419. It's Wellness Wednesday, and for the first time in 2026, we are joined by our Wellness Wednesday chief.
Happy New Year, Megan.
Happy New Year,
See,
Gretchen.
seeing her for the first time.
Let me ask though, I guess in the umbrella of wellness, what is the welliest, is that how to say it?
Yeah,
welliest.
What is the time frame for a proper Happy New Year?
I think January.
The month.
Go through January. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I do say it repeatedly, depending,
Yes.
you know, I don't know when I see, I probably said Happy New Year to you a couple times already.
Multiple times,
Yeah.
even sitting here.
Yeah.
How many times do you actually mean it?
Every time.
Okay.
Every time.
Well,
Every time.
Me too.
Happy New Year.
Happy
Yeah.
New Year, Kevin.
There are people born to certain industries, and this lady is born
That's right.
to wellness.
Yes.
That's right.
We do want to get to wellness, of course. It is the name of the show. And we can't talk about what time of day it is or the day itself because it's confusing. But Megan, you are a personal friend of all of us and a professional friend of certainly the agency I work for and many, many others. I do want to admit that we have misspelled your name in every conceivable way. So we're first
I
of all-
refuse to even use that last name.
She's not strong in Megan either.
I just go strictly Megan Vahey. That's the old school one?
Yes.
That's the name I know?
That's
That's what's
the
in my
OG.
email?
Yeah.
That's
right.
That's the name I use. So
I still
no
use
offense to
some-
your husband.
Hey, he doesn't take any offense.
Any pause in marrying him with the possible confusion of the spelling?
He warned me about it.
He did.
He did. But you know, Vahey was confusing for folks too.
Yeah, people are,
People,
I can't
you
say
know,
in the wellness frame, but
you know,
people struggle.
They struggle.
Yeah.
Names are important,
Yes.
but you know, Vahey and Casiere, I just hit the lottery on those two. So you know,
Have you developed, so I'll quick story here and then I'll ask my question, but
Oh,
I'm curious
God, I
like if
hope
you've
it's
got if you've developed any cliche explanations of it. Like, because for me, people always say Mullins. I get an S at the
Kroger's.
end, and so I have, my line is, get to know me better and you'll know that you don't want two of me.
I like that.
And that reminds people that like, don't make it plural, right?
Yeah.
But like, is there a line, is there a moniker? Like we've got, you know, we had Julia
She
Paige,
says Happy New Year.
and it's like Paige like Paige, right? Like, yeah.
I don't know if I have anything like that. I can say that when I came back to Toledo from DC, when I left Toledo, I left as Vahey. I came back as Casiere.
As many people have.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. That's a
Age-old
whole
story.
other. That's a whole other show, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I came back. I had changed my last name when we got married, and when we moved back to Toledo, I brought Vahey back because everybody knew me as Vahey. So. It's kind of stuck as a stage name, so.
I like it.
Yeah.
I know we've had you on the podcast a couple of times, and so I don't necessarily want to go back and rehash some of the conversations we've had, but I'm curious, like we talk about all the time, when we've got guests that are on the show, we learn things about them that we I mean, I've known you for years.
Yeah.
I think I knew that you left and came back, but like what was the job that took you to DC, and then what was the job that brought you, or what maybe it wasn't a job, but what brought you back?
Well, I worked for Mayor Jack Ford in the early 2000s, and Mayor Ford, when he lost, as those in politics know, if you're close to the elected official, you tend to leave when they leave. And so I decided I was going to go to law school. So I left Toledo, moved to Columbus for a brief moment, and then to DC to go to law school. When I was in DC, I worked for the DC City Council and did economic development, workforce development for them.
Was there any of that just a totally earth-shattering, or were you always confident, like, I can do it here, I can do it on the relative bigger stage? Did you ever feel like a duck out of water?
Oh, you know, it was interesting because my experience in the city, I think, really helped me do well at DC Council, because the committee that I was working for, they had a staff shortage. So I was actually in law school when I went in to work in the committee. And having the executive experience that I had in DC really allowed me to just like run immediately in the council. And so that was actually great.
Yeah.
But what was really cool was in DC at that moment, they were getting 1,000 new people every month. They were really making major investments in their city and doing concentrated economic development. And it was really interesting. And I took those lessons that I learned from DC when I came up to do economic development in Lucas County. But I was in DC for about 7 years. Ultimately, I was the chief of staff to the council chairman.
Wow.
So that was pretty neat. So I had this office on Pennsylvania
It must have been
Avenue.
just chaos, though, to some degree.
Controlled chaos.
Controlled
Yeah.
chaos,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It was really neat, being in the nation's capital. When I would go on a run, I would run the National Mall, and so the monuments were my vantage point. It was amazing.
Who was president when you were there?
President Obama.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. He was president. So I was in the nation's capital the night that he won, in 2008, and that was a pretty big deal. I went to his inauguration.
You're kidding me. Cool.
Yeah, that was great.
Anything from Megan as a little girl that sort of had this dialed in? Were you a class president at your elementary school? Were you always organizing the debate team? What were the footprints of sending you to the nation's capital at this capacity?
My mom was a student at the University of Toledo when we were kids, and she took me to one of her political science classes. And
how old were you?
God, I was probably 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And that was also, I was 8 when I first went to DC. We also went to the student library, and I remember paging through a book about Abraham Lincoln, and it was just always ingrained. My mom is a big proponent of civil rights and social justice and those types of things, and that just has been ingrained in me, and so that kind of set me off on my public service career, which is what I was doing, and my intent was to do all along.
Yeah.
And after I was done in DC, I called up a friend and said, "Hey, we're thinking about coming home." And so I connected with Commissioner Gherkin, as one will do, and said, if there's anything that's happening in Lucas County, let me know. And they had a position, so I came back as chief of planning and development and did that I was with the county ultimately for about 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay, that's longer than I had.
Yeah. And became administrator. I was administrator for 5. And I like to point out, some of my favorite work was with the Metro Parks. And we did great stuff together.
Yes.
And being at the county at the time was super exciting because all of the downtown development was really just happening and kicking off. And there were some really critical leaders in place that made that happen. But we built the convention center and the new ballroom, and we got the new hotel, and a lot of major investment in the county was done, and I'm very proud of that.
Go ahead.
When you moved back to Toledo, how big of a sales pitch did you have to put on your husband?
He actually was the one who said, "Hey, what do you think about going back?" And he's not from Toledo, so I love that because he's from the Casieres are New Jersey, and
this is the New Jersey spelling.
This is the New Jersey spelling. There you go. So
the New Jersey Casieres.
The New Jersey Casieres.
That's right.
So Steve's mom and dad moved to Ohio, and they are the only New Jersey Casieres here in the Midwest. They don't think of themselves as Midwestern, though. They are definitely New Jersey. And so Steve, when we were talking about it, he said, why don't we think about going back to where your folks are? And I jumped on it.
That's great.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's just,
I am now sitting here remembering pictures that I have at home of us at the inauguration.
Yes.
At the Ohio Ball.
Yes.
And do you remember we got our car stolen?
We can edit that out.
And we didn't know how we were going to get back. We were like walking back from the ball, and our car had been stolen, and we kept walking around this parking garage. It was Wade and Sarah and Mark, and we were like reached out to all of our other friends that were there to try to figure out how we were all going to get back. And they ultimately found the van, and we were able to get back. But it was crazy.
It was a really cool time,
It was a
though,
fun
wasn't
time.
it? I
Very
mean,
fun
it's
time.
just man, and it was cold that weekend.
I'll have to post the pictures of us from back then.
Your car never gets
It was
stolen
freezing.
in ideal
Yeah,
temperatures.
exactly.
So, worked in government in Toledo.
Yes.
Went to DC law school, worked in government there, came back, worked in government.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're with Workspring.
Yes.
How and really, I guess let's go back. You went to the Employers Association
Mm-hmm.
and have now rebranded. So talk to me a little bit about kind of what that journey for you personally was, and then kind of that brand evolution for the organization as well.
Well, you know, when you spend time in high-level positions with government, it does tend to burn you out. And I consider myself a positive person, and I like to lead in a positive way. And I also think when you're in those types of positions, turnover is good. It's good for the person who holds a position. It's good for the organization. It's always good for fresh perspective because taxpayers need to make sure that you've got cutting-edge ideas and folks who are just getting up and killing it every day. And I wanted to try something new, and it had been 5 years since taking over as administrator. But I still wanted to spend time in workforce and economic development and still help the community and really promote our region. So the Employers Association was searching for a new CEO. Jack Hollister was head of the Employers Association for 25 years. He did an excellent job.
Absolutely.
He's a good man.
Good man. Built a great organization, and we're 75 years this year. And so this opportunity came about, and I jumped on it, and it made sense. The board thought it would make sense for me to come over, and you know, my background is not private sector; it is public sector. But I had this experience in economic and workforce development, and also working very closely with our human resource professionals at the county, at the city, in DC, and so it was really just a natural transition from county government or public service to working on behalf of our members. We have hundreds of members across the state of Ohio, and we provide human resource solutions, workplace wellness, and employee training. And I think what I do every day is I take the lessons that I've learned from our members and from my own personal experience and think about how can we do this better? How can we help folks in these areas? Because really, the people are the engines of these companies. And so if you've got a solid human resource program going on, and you're considerate about workplace wellness, and you're committed to training, all of these things together really, they make a difference in how your organization is going to run. A lot of times, you know, especially here in Northwest Ohio, when there are economic downturns, companies have to make very tough decisions about employment and about their teams.
We've been trying to get rid of Gretchen on this show from its
2 years now.
For 2 years.
Yeah.
Do you have any strategies?
Yeah. I don't want to use the word drain. I can't use it enough.
Yeah. You don't want to stop using it.
That's right. I mean, you're experiencing it here in real time. It isn't like she adds anything.
Oh, Gretchen.
Right? No, I'm just kidding.
Gretchen, you're so wonderful.
I know.
She
Can
is.
you believe I have to sit between these two?
Yeah, it's the best thing that's ever happened to her. Her words. I mean, we're wrapping up the first portion here, but we've asked a couple of our guests this, but I'm interested. When you roll out of bed, when you get going, is there something you check into? What is your early routine to get the day going? What's the first thing you look at?
Please let it be Wordle.
It's not Wordle,
Okay.
unfortunately, but I do play Wordle and Connections. I do the whole suite.
Thank you.
Whole suite.
I love Connections.
I do
Connections
too.
are good too, yeah.
Although it's gotten.
I just
please keep
started it
going.
like last week. Yeah.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
great. What's the one where you have to also find the words? It's like a word search. It's in the same suite. I can't remember.
Boggle.
Yes.
Yes. So the first thing I do, I open up Threads, to be honest, because I need to see what's happening.
What the news is.
Then I'll check out the Blade. Then I'll look at the New York Times.
Then you decide to go back to bed for a couple hours.
Yep, I check out, I go through our socials, see what's happening. I
Sure.
just like to get a temperature. And then I grab a cup of coffee and we get going. So we've got Simon and Hazel. Simon is our 10-year-old and Hazel's our 7-year-old, so we're busy. We start probably about 5 a.m.
Yeah.
and go till
But it's in.
late.
But you live in Waterville, so what
do.
time is 5 a.m.?
In Waterville.
What's the time difference?
Yeah. Yeah. Remind me. That's noon. It's a noon.
Yeah, it's slightly different.
Yeah. Well, I love Connections. First of all, anytime I meet anyone smart that does the thing I do, I'm like, it's validating. But you start at 5 a.m. and that's the process that gets you going.
Yeah.
I guess on
The whole family starts at 5 a.m.?
No,
Okay.
no.
All
Steve
right.
and I pretty much do. But I am part of
gotta
this
have it-
club.
Yes.
You're up at 3 a.m. I'm up at 3 a.m. every day.
Well, thank Daddy.
What time do you go to bed?
I go to bed around 10.
Because you can't sleep, or you're choosing to get up at 3.
My eyes just pop
No
open at
human
3.
being
chooses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have so many questions. Like I there was a podcast that I discovered years ago called the 5 a.m. Miracle. And so like, I was like, all right, I'm gonna get up at 5 a.m. and let's go.
Yeah.
And the whole thought was, you know, the amount of like productive time you have mostly happens when you're not around other people.
Yeah.
And so if you can give yourself a
And
little
that's
bit more time.
that's the theme of our show.
That's right.
And he's got kids as you do, so that time to get something accomplished might have to be 5 a.m.
Oh,
Yeah, but 3 a.m. seems
3 a.m. seems
like terrorist activity.
Yeah.
No, it works for me. And I usually start checking my news sources at 3, and then I'll go back to sleep for a little bit, and then I'm up.
Okay.
But it's just, it's my system.
If that doesn't speak to the state of our news,
That's
that
right.
I'm going to open up, read some news, and it's like, you know what? I just need to go back to bed.
Yeah.
I'm going to pretend like this nightmare is over.
Yeah.
All right. When we come back, I want to talk about Wellness Wednesday and what your goals and hopes for this segment throughout the year are. We're talking with Megan Vahey-Casiere with Workspring. We'll be right back with the 419, powered by WGTE and presented by Witro Wealth Management.
Support for the 419 comes from Witro Wealth Management, where we understand that your financial path is personal. Advisory services are offered through Capital Investment Advisory Services, LLC. Securities offered through Capital Investment Group, Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. More information at WitroAdvisors.com. And from Workspring, supporting healthy and vibrant businesses, one workplace at a time. More information at workspring.org. Join us every Wednesday for Wellness Wednesday, sponsored by Workspring. The 419 is also sponsored by Toledo Refining Company, serving Northwest Ohio and East Toledo for over 125 years. More information at ToledoRefiningCompany.com. And TARDA, celebrating its 55th year of connecting Northwest Ohioans to their community. More information at TARDA.com. Tune in every Thursday for the Toledo.com community calendar presented by TARDA. Interested in supporting the 419 and other great local programming at WGTE? Visit WGTE.org.
Welcome back into the 419, powered by WGTE and presented by Workspring. It is Wellness Wednesday, joined by Megan Vahey-Casiere. I got this.
You got it.
Megan, when we started talking about the show, first of all, thank you for supporting the podcast for the last few years, and then of course joining us on this journey. When we talked about what we wanted to try and create, wellness was important to you.
Yes.
Explain to me kind of what your hopes for this show are for Workspring, but then also specifically, what are the goals of this segment as we kind of focus in on wellness once a week?
Well, we at Workspring are so thrilled to be part of this podcast and also congratulations. Happy New Year, congratulations.
Did you say
Thank
Happy
you.
New Year again?
She did, and I felt like she meant it.
Yeah, me too. It felt great.
Yeah.
We're really happy about it. But wellness can be kind of a fluffy term, and not everybody, it's used a lot. And so having the opportunity to talk about it in this kind of a format is great because I'd like to be able to talk about real examples of what that actually means. So from a workplace perspective, that could be talking about how do you just make your workplace conducive to work, to the folks who are coming to work every single day. We just went through, we just moved downtown Toledo. We started in downtown Toledo in 1950, then we were out in the suburbs. 1950.
How about that?
And so now we're in the Innovation Post at the former Jefferson Center. And so, but yeah, your environment is wellness. The benefits that you offer as an employer is wellness. And also at Workspring, we've been concentrating on things that affect employers and employees alike. Those things that are going on in personal lives as well as blending over into your professional life. So for example, we had a great discussion last summer about the sandwich generation. So when people are dealing with older parents and perhaps still have kids at home and what that means, because likely those people are still in the workplace every day, and there's a lot of pressure that comes with that. So what's nice about Workspring and our membership is we can have these types of discussions, but this format will allow us to talk about it with a wider audience. And I think it's important just to start talking about these things. talking about wellness in a way that's accessible, I think helps to make it real. And so that's what we're hoping to get out of it. We do mental health first aid at Workspring. We do walking challenges. I mean, it's everything. It's the entire gamut, very similar to what we do along the employee life cycle. So,
are there pillars or anchors or sort of a mission that you prescribe to that would sort of bring this underneath an umbrella?
I think it starts with leadership. So, how leaders respond when people want to use their time off. That matters. Whether you require employees to show up if they're sick. All of this impacts your bottom line at work too.
Right, that's a great point.
And you offer these benefits, and so as leaders, we want to try to make sure that folks are utilizing them. Also, I think being fit, it doesn't have to be all or none. So it's January, people are starting to have new gym memberships, and like you said earlier, maybe they go one time and then that becomes an issue for them. Sometimes just getting up and walking to get a glass of water. It's very important. You got your Fitbit, I've got my Fitbit, I have a notice that says get up and walk.
Yeah.
I don't do it every time it buzzes me, but I know that I have to do it. And I do it more often than if I didn't know.
Have it,
yeah.
right.
When I got my smartwatch for the first time, there's a recurring kind of reminder about
standing up.
Not just standing up, but also taking a moment and breathing and relaxing. And so I had that activated when I started, and it became a point of anxiety for me. That it was no, I don't have time to take 60 seconds right now. And so I finally had to just disable it, say I can't do it. I don't need an hour reminder to stop, because I'm a
failing
person
at something else.
That's right.
Yeah, I get
That's
it.
right.
Well, you know what? That's a great point, though, because not everybody, like you said, not everybody likes a Fitbit. So just because my system works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for you. So that's where I think knowing what will work for you and giving yourself that ability to make those adjustments, you don't have to add extra pressure to yourself, but it is a good thing to drink a glass of water. It is a good thing to get up away from your desk, maybe to have lunch. That's something that I'm terrible at. I either don't eat lunch or I don't ever leave my desk.
Sure.
So it's just something I have to work on too. And
I do think naming these things out loud, just a bare positive deliverable, mentioning taking care of children and potentially a parent, right?
Yeah.
Knowing that you are not alone in that space, you're not feeling it is overwhelming to many. That in itself has an intrinsic value.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's very easy to think that you're on your own island.
Sure. That's how I'm on this show.
Well, but you've got other people on your island. You just have to look.
Kind of.
Yeah, we're not going to help get him off the island. He's stuck there forever.
That's right.
But you know what? There are other people around,
That's right.
and it can very much feel like you're all by yourself
Agreed.
until you start talking about it. Which again is why it's important to name these things out. And just sometimes I just like tips and tricks and tell me some ideas, and maybe they'll work for me. So.
Help me understand from your perspective why this is important to an employer, right? Why you guys getting into this space, I get, the value in some core HR support and services and expertise for small to mid-sized businesses to say, hey, I can't afford to have this expertise or all of this experience in-house. I need a resource that I can call and ask. Why does that matter from your perspective?
Because you're exactly right. Not everybody can afford to have their own wellness person on staff. So where we come in is we've got this amazing team set out throughout the state of Ohio who will come in and work really on a daily and hourly basis and help you set up your program. We have a very amazing partnership with Medical Mutual of Ohio, and so we do their wellness for employers in groups of 50 to 500. But Workspring also does independent programming, so you don't have to do it all by yourself. That's what we do.
That's great advice.
And so you can just give us a call, and we'll talk you through it and figure out what we can do to help. It's not expensive, and employers have a lot going on just running their businesses. They've got their own things they have to achieve, but you can bring us in as a special team to help get that done. It's important because your employees need to be at their best when they're coming to work for you. And if you make sure that you're providing them that environment, a good environment, one in which they feel that that their time is being well spent and they're being compensated and they've got the benefits where they can perform, I think it's a good thing overall. It's better to have happy employees. And that doesn't mean rose-colored glasses.
Of course.
It just means that you're setting the table so that they know what needs to be done. So from a wellness perspective, I think it just makes sense. And it's important to also communicate throughout the journey of wellness. It's not just one and done either. Consistent communication throughout the year, but you can do it in baby steps. So January, maybe I'm going to focus on having that glass of water every day. In February, maybe I'm going to have lunch away from my desk. In March, I'm going to try to find a coworker to go on a walk with. So these types of things, you don't have to join a gym per se.
I'll write that down.
You don't have to join a gym.
Or join, you don't have to go.
You don't have to go.
There's probably not one answer to this, but we are a data-driven culture now, for whatever data means, right? It's a pretty flexible concept, but what you measure is important, right? So sort of broadly, this might display my ignorance, but how do you measure success in this way? I do think your question is a good one, right? Because their wellness does positively affect a traditional profit and loss statement, right? That's probably without any refute. But how do you measure these things, or how do you inform your clients or partners and how they know if they're on the right track or not?
That's a great question, Matt. We are totally driven by data at Workspring, and our wellness consultants work very closely to make sure that employees are going to their preventative care appointments. That's number one. Well, really, getting your screenings done to see what your levels are, and then making sure you're going to your doctor.
Sure.
That is paramount, because you're paying for this insurance anyway. Your primary care physician is there to help you stay well and figure out if there are any issues, how do we deal with them. It's easier to deal with them on the front end than on the back end. So preventative care. And then also we push screenings. So get your cancer screenings, mammograms, prostate exams. These types of things are really important. And it can be scary for folks. It's very scary. I have a very close relative who does not like doing this because they're worried about what there might be. But I think that an ounce of prevention is worth, a pound of cure. And so those are the things that we do, and then we measure that. So with our wellness program with Medical Mutual, we have an over 60% success rate, which is huge. And we do wellness screenings. And we have a really great track record with wellness screenings too. So I think it's personal touch, and I think it's making sure that you've got somebody, a human being, who you know and trust, who can help you get through it.
From an employer company, so I get some of those points for the individual. As an employer or somebody who manages a team, manages a company, what's the right first step for them to create kind of wellness in the workplace?
Well, I think number one, just talking about wellness is great, but number two, I would call Workspring, because we can help you set up a wellness program. But if you're looking to get started, I think talking to your team about getting up from their desks and taking a walk either outside or in the building, I think that's a good first step. And there's lots of resources out there on the internet that you can take a look at. But I always encourage folks, even just to, whether or not you're a member or not, we can help put you in the right direction.
I do think it's important to call someone with you and your team's expertise, because the internet can also be an absolute bastion of terribly frightening information.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes,
so
absolutely.
that is a soapboxy commentary, but having a professional talk to you about the realities can help from a doom scrolling at like midnight.
Yeah, and we have certified wellness consultants on our team, and we'd be happy to help.
All right, it's time for Gretchen's Crazy Quiz.
That's not what it's called.
What's it called?
It's the 419 quiz.
Okay.
All right, this is Gretchen's crazy idea.
I like it.
All right, I'm going to throw out 4 rapid fire questions. Gretchen's going to hit you with your favorite thing in the region, and then Matt's going to ask you to describe the region in 9 words.
Okay. Goodness.
Not 9 words or less. Exactly 9
That'd be great.
words. Don't screw it up. All right, here we go. Question 1. What do you think is a waste of money?
What do I think is a waste of money?
Podcasts.
Don't say that.
I think some subscriptions can be wastes of money. I don't want to call any out, but I have gone through my budget and I have eliminated some subscriptions.
Good.
Okay, that's good advice.
Do you have pets?
Yes.
Okay, if your pet could talk, what would they say?
Kill me.
No.
No.
Rocky would say, Rocky from LC4, he would say, I love it here.
Oh, Rocky.
I hope he says that.
Me too.
Yeah. Or else we beat him. Your words. Yeah.
When and where was the last time you danced?
Oh my gosh. I probably danced at, I danced with Hazel over Christmas.
Yeah.
At my house.
I love it. All right. And then this might be a tricky one.
Okay.
When somebody asks you to tell a joke, what's your go-to joke?
This is a hard one.
It's a New Year joke, and it's not really a joke. It's something that I think is particularly funny.
Okay.
So all day, every day on January 1st, I will say that we've done this all year, or we haven't done this all year. So, you know, I've had my first cup of coffee. That's all I've had is coffee this whole year.
This whole year.
Or if I haven't,
I love it.
if I haven't gotten a hug from my kids, I haven't had a hug all year.
Oh.
So
it's manipulative.
It's manipulative.
Yes,
but it's all year, every year.
Sure.
I am not a good joke teller. I like to listen to jokes.
I'm with you.
Okay, good. Okay, what's your number one favorite thing, most beloved thing in the region?
Metro
the city?
Parks.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
It's true.
And that's our show. All right, this was one that creates a little bit of anxiety, right? And there's no pressure here. But if you were to describe or use 9 words to describe our region or our little town or even your little beloved Waterville, what would those 9 words be?
I would say, I'd say interesting. I would say creative.
Okay.
I would say summer weather.
Sure.
Is that 2 words?
That's 4.
Keep going.
Okay.
There's no judgment here.
Let's see here. What else? Help me here. 4 more words. Grit.
Grit, good.
Tenacity.
Good.
How many more?
That's
You get
6.
You get 3 more.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Perplexing.
Yep. One more.
Good one.
Finish strong.
And
Well.
I would say curious.
Okay, I like it. Good.
I like it. I like
Love
it.
Good job, Megan. That's
Megan.
tough. That is hard.
9 words.
Yes. Yep. Well, that should have been provided to you weeks ago.
It should have been provided to you by the
should've-
person responsible for
Next
inviting
year.
you here, but
That's
You know
why.
what? We've gotten it wrong all year.
yeah,
You
all
nailed it.
year.
Yeah.
Megan,
all right.
thank you so much for supporting the show. Obviously, we'll see a
Thank
lot
you
more
so
of you
much.
throughout the year. At
hope
least we
so.
hope so.
Yeah. Thank
But
you.
thank you.
Thank
When
you.
we come back, Wellness Wednesday continues, and we are joined by Paige Johnston from Workspring.
Every day when you're walking
You
down
laughed
the
with
street.
us. You learned with us.
Hi, neighbor.
We made sure your
together
childhood
again.
was special. Memories that could only be provided by PBS. For generations, we've given you programs that made a difference. Programs that entertain, informed, and inspired. And today is no different. This is WGTE Public Media in Toledo. It's where you belong.
Introducing The Local Thread, a community news series uniting voices and storytellers from across the region. In partnership with La Prensa, the Toledo Free Press, the Sojourner's Truth, Toledo Public Schools, and veteran journalist Jerry Anderson. The Local Thread brings you stories and conversations that connect our community. Hear it weeknights at 7 on FM 91 with early access on podcast platforms each morning. The Local Thread, only on WGTE.
Welcome back into the 419, powered by WGT and presented by Wheatro Wealth Management. It's Workspring, it's Wellness Wednesday.
Yes.
Presented by Workspring. We're joined by Paige Johnston from Workspring. Paige, what's your role at Workspring?
I'm the wellness manager there, so I've been there for 10 years though, and kind of started from the bottom and have worked my way through the wellness organization.
Paige, based on your expertise, just from looking at us, what's wrong with us?
You look good. You look good.
Paige,
she wears glasses
You
for
look
a reason.
rested.
so-
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I do.
that's right. Paige, you are from originally Holgate, Ohio,
Yes,
right? That is
yes.
the capital of Ohio, is that
Yeah,
right?
it is.
Yes.
It's very big.
Yep, yep.
Population 200?
That's
No.
right. All right.
Is that the actual population of
No,
Holgate?
there's like
Okay.
1,000.
Well, she moved.
No, it's
so-
still small. I did move. I
So
now
it's
live in
199.
Sylvania, so.
What is the draw to Holgate? What is the big
Community.
Yeah, all right.
Tiger basketball.
Holgate High School.
Holgate
mascot's
High School.
The Tiger.
The Tiger.
After
Holgate
a big
Tigers.
game, win and or lose, which presumably was mostly win, where did everyone convene?
The VFW.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Classic.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Paige. I also appreciate you spelling your name P-A-G-E. Is that right?
No, P-A-I-G-E.
Okay, you're
Page
an
is a page in a
over-vowler
book.
as well.
Yes.
Yes, that's right. Thank you.
Does anyone named Paige spell it P-A-G-E?
Yes.
Well, I
really?
did just read it off one of our beloved teammates' sheets, and I
Okay.
should have known not to take Gretchen's lead.
Yeah, don't do that.
But let's get into, I've got sort of a macro-micro question for you. We talked about in the last segment, the old moniker is January 1st, head out, sign up for a gym, go a couple times, and then feel terribly about the whole thing. So
The whole rest of the year.
That's right. That's right. Or a decade if you're me. But I do want to talk about real goals that are appropriate and things to make yourself feel good about. So if we were coming right off the street and saying Paige with an I think I'm saying that right, help us craft a proper and appropriate and healthy wellness journey. What would that look like?
Well, with it being a new year, resolutions don't necessarily work.
Sure.
It's a lot. Behavior change is hard.
Yes.
So the biggest thing to do is start with micro habits and making sure you start small. So I
Okay.
know one of the things Megan talked was get up and get a glass of water. So set a small goal, and if it is water, I'm going to drink 80 ounces of water today. And that's my goal. And that's my goal for the week. And start with that and then build upon it. So once you get that down for maybe 2 weeks, maybe start, I'm going to go to the Metro Park and I'm going to walk a mile.
Sure.
And after I drink my 80 ounces of water, I'm going to do that and then build upon that.
Paige, is there a place to put that? Do you put it on the refrigerator? Do you put it on a cork board? Put it in your phone? What's the mechanism for keeping yourself
It's different.
accountable?
It's
Okay.
different for everyone. So there's 1,000 apps out there. You can
Sure.
download any type of app and track it that way. Find a buddy and compete. That's another great way. One of my coworkers and I, we actually are doing something right now where it's simple things like water, movement,
Yeah.
making sure you're getting up, not eating lunch at your desk, which is easy to do when you have only a set amount of time.
Sure.
So making these small little habits can create a lot of big behavior change.
Sure.
And then from there, you don't have to join a gym because it's easier to do small micro movements throughout the day.
And this might show how bad I am at the interview process, but how do you mark success and how do you celebrate that? Like, what does that look like? What's an appropriate way or clinical way to look at goal setting?
I think, SMART goals are always really smart, so making sure they're attainable, something that you can easily do. Have a really set, realistic amount of time. If you join a gym and you're like, I'm going to go 5 days a week and I'm going to work out for 45 minutes and I'm going to lift and do all these things.
It's just too much.
It's too much, and it's not something you can really do when you have a bunch of other things going on in
Sure.
life. So making sure that it's small and attainable. So if it's 3 days, I'm going to do 3 days and you hit that goal, that's great. And if you don't hit it, that's also okay. Making sure that you're very kind of able to bounce back and forth because you don't want to disappoint yourself because then it feels, I'm a failure because I didn't do it, and that's not realistic or true.
Gretchen, do you want to talk a little bit about failure?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay. Paige, I guess.
Happy New Year.
Too, and I'm sure this is a very,
New Year, Paige.
we got another month of that. And then it's weather talk. So when we talk about being well, and this is probably a very complicated question, but what is it? Is there a standard definition for well, or what are we striving to look like?
I think it's really just doing things that are personal to you. So even for men and women, we should drink different amounts of water. We should eat different amounts of calories, different types of movement. It's more of your individual base. So some people don't want to diet and exercise, and that's okay. Maybe they want to be financially well. Maybe they want to have more just time in their day. Maybe they want to be grateful a little bit more. So putting in different micro movements, like you were saying earlier with your watch, that can be really frustrating. But if you do it once a day, like, hey, I'm going to take 5 minutes and I'm going to really look at what's the glimmer in my day or the really good thing that's happening today.
Yeah.
That's a win. So looking at some of these different micro movements can really be helpful.
I like the idea of what your goal being even finding something that's positive in your day, right?
And that kind of gets into mental wellness too, because it doesn't necessarily just have to be about working out and food intake, but about keeping mentally sharp, keeping mentally well, keeping your mood on track, those kinds of things can also be part of it, right?
I think there's I want to play devil's advocate a little bit here, because I think there's a generational piece here that, you know, wellness matters more to the younger employers
100%.
than the older employers in a workplace, or I think they pay attention to it more. And so I'm curious kind of how you address, you know, when there's that generational divide between leadership and employees, and sort of helping maybe the older leaders find that line between wellness and employees. Because I've heard from people say, well, like, no, they're all snowflakes, right? Like they, you know, I need my mental health break and I need my whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like, I mean, we know those are real things, but if you're from a different generation,
butts and seat production.
Yeah, like how do you balance that, or say, it's like, no, suck it up and get to work.
Right.
I don't care that you have a cold today. Like, we got to work.
So there's a lot of data out there, and there's a lot of ROI for wellness programs and showing that they work. And one of the biggest things is productivity. You'll see happy employees are much more productive.
Sure.
Employees that find value don't leave work as often. There's not as much absenteeism. We'll see a lot of productivity from employees, and being retention's a huge one. We'll be able to see that in the data. And one thing we do at Workspring is we really track all of that information. And your insurance carrier also can help just really look at what the healthcare cost is of those that may be a little bit happier, healthier than those that aren't. And then you can take that data and take it back to some of the older people in the organization and say, hey, here are some target points that we need to do that are working for the younger generation that might not be for the older.
Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily generation specific, but I certainly understand that point, right? You mean there's pressure. Some of us, myself included, have sort of an unhealthy way of gaining esteem, right? Like production at work is a way where I get validation, right? Paige, I'm going to sort of, on a personal note, I'm curious, when you were little Paige, were you gathering kids in the neighborhood to talk about their wellness plans?
Definitely not.
Yeah, okay. So talk to me
She was at the Tigers game.
Yeah, I was at the Tigers game.
Yeah.
No.
Talk to me about that path. How does this fit into who you are as a person?
Well, I really like well-being in general, and being a positive spirit. I think that's really important.
Sure.
I think when I went to school, I wanted to be a nurse, which blood freaks me out, so that was definitely a bad game plan.
Yeah, that'd be tough.
Yeah, it was tough, but I took all of the right classes for wellness. So I ended up graduating with a healthcare degree, which put me right in Workspring. So it wasn't something that I necessarily wanted to do, but now that I'm here, it's something I'm really passionate about.
I just had this conversation with my wife about like our kids, and I
whose they were.
Right, yeah, that's right. I try to be intentional anytime my kids show any interest in a person or a career, being intentional about making sure that they know that that career exists.
Sure.
Because like there's so many like folks that I interacted with when I was a kid that do what I now do, but I had no idea those jobs existed. And so I think the idea of like, hey, I'm interested in healthcare, well, you have to be a nurse. Like that's the elementary school sort of mindset of this. It's not, you know what, I think I'm going to be a wellness consultant for employers, and I'm going to work for an agency like that. No one's thinking that, right? So I love that journey kind of took you here, and you still get to do it.
And I think highlighting, obviously, outing myself as not being well, leaving
you
the
don't
office.
have to tell us, Matt. We can see it.
Yeah, that is in. But Paige, do you find yourself, I mean, we're just rolling off the holidays, right? Do you find yourself hyper in tune to family gatherings like Uncle Ralph is clearly not well? Or how do you separate?
You can see, but I don't think as much. I think everyone has their own way of coping with life, so I think that's one way to kind of look at things. But you can tell where there's people that may need a little bit more than others, and
but you can't own all that.
You can't. You definitely can't.
How do you put it down?
Give the resources that you have. Say, hey, we can help you.
How do you have that conversation with somebody, right?
It's
so
hard,
somebody in your life you see, and you think what you see is them making decisions that aren't, leading them to wellness.
Yeah.
How do you, as a not as a friend, but as an employer, as a coworker, how do you bridge that gap?
I think it's communication and being available. Just letting people know, hey, I'm here for you. I know I've been noticing this. I really want to talk through. If you want to work on it, great, I'm here. And if you don't, that's okay, but here's some resources. I know one thing, especially with mental health, the EAP kind of gets a bad rap sometimes. People don't want to use it. They're not really sure how. But a lot of companies have it, and it's a really great resource where we can easily say, hey, here are all these free resources that come with your EAP, and this is something you should look into.
See, when I was first place that I worked that had an EAP.
And that's employee assistance program.
Thank you.
I had, there were times when I was like, you know what, I feel like I could talk to somebody, right? I could, but I didn't do it, right?
Yeah,
Because I was afraid that I don't want my boss to know that I've got this stuff going on at home.
And that I'm not a performer.
Right.
That I can't produce.
And the big thing is communication. So making sure that people are communicating about the EAP. You don't need to tell your coworkers or your boss what's going on, but it's nice to know, hey, I have this EAP, I have these resources that I can use that no one else is going to know about, and you're really well versed in what your EAP can do for you, and that's really important.
So again, this isn't person specific for obvious reasons, but do you have like an aha moment or something that you celebrate when you think about this feels really good? You're a human being, so we all ideally choose things that make us feel good and from our 9 to 5, right? But is there something in particular, either from an experience with an individual or agency, or something that you deliver from a product standpoint that makes you feel particularly whole?
Oh yeah, we do so many things with people's biometrics and screenings, preventative care, and people can detect so many things from just knowing what your numbers are.
Sure.
If people don't know what their numbers are, there's so many things that can go wrong, and you can get ahead of chronic conditions once you know what your numbers are. You can get immediate care. Having the relationship with your primary care provider is important, because then you can go see someone a lot sooner, early detection of diseases and those types of things. So we work with a lot of employees that don't know what their numbers are. They have no idea. They have high blood pressure. They have to go to the hospital.
I don't know right now.
Yeah, it can be scary, because you could have something going on and you have no idea because you're not getting your regular checks.
Similar to what we talked to Megan about, if someone is approaching the new year, they are thinking about what they should do. It's overwhelming. Where should you focus? What should you do? I have all these things I want to, do or talk about or learn about. What's the thing? What's the one thing like this week that someone can do to get their wellness journey started?
I would call and schedule your primary care physician appointment for the year. It takes a long time to get into the doctor, as we all probably know. So getting that appointment scheduled this week, whether it's 6 months from now, 9 months, at least it's on the calendar and you know you're going to get it. And then also just doing something really small. Look, whether it's going for a walk, whether it's getting in like 10 minutes of break gratitude time, whether it's drinking more water, just building in one small thing this week can make a huge difference. And then you can just build upon that in the next weeks to come.
What are when you think about a workplace and I'm going back to, talk to my boss about this. I've seen this interview and I want to try and help my coworkers. What are the core components of a healthy workplace?
It really ties back to communication and culture. So really making sure that you have, one thing that we really try to do with a workplace is let's just survey our employees.
Sure.
Let's see what the employees want to hear and what they want in a wellness program. It can be super easy to do a very quick 5-10 minute survey. Hey, here are the things that we're really interested in. And then once everyone feels like they have a voice, you get more buy-in. And then people want to participate in things. So if someone's telling you, we're doing a walking challenge, and you're like, well, I walk every day. I don't need to do a walking challenge. I want to do something more on mental health, or I want to get a mental health first aid certification or something like that, then you can really see what the rest of the employees want.
And then you're also being responsive.
Yes.
So responsive and inclusive of what people want.
Exactly. It helps you put together a plan, especially for the new year. The newest thing is let's pick 3 big initiatives we want to do this year and make it small. Here are 3 things that we want to get done, and we're going to ask our team what they want, and then we're going to help execute those.
On the flip side, what are the 3 biggest hurdles? Or a
also
couple?
Leadership.
Okay.
It's hard to get buy-in if someone's not buying in from the top.
Sure.
And having those different conversations, making sure you're providing, hey, this is the value that it's going to really tie back to the organization. Here's how it ties to our mission. And I think that's really important, because once a leader sees that, there's a lot of easier ways that they can help integrate some more participation, engagement, just even adding in like a little wellness tidbit at full staff meetings, whether it's putting signs on bathroom doors or different things that can make a difference.
And you can't ask people to go and get their doctor's appointment and then make it a total pain.
Yes, 100%.
For them to get, those 2 hours off to go to the doctor.
Yeah.
It has to be part of it.
Buy-in is a very big,
huge.
simple thing.
Where can people find more information about Workspring?
on our website, workspring.org. We have a whole slew of different tips, information. We also, on our socials, we do a different newsletter every month that is really tied to different topics, which really kind of pulls wellness, HR, all the great things we do in one spot.
Paige, thank you
Thank
so
you
much
so
for
much.
the time.
Thank you,
Thanks for
guys.
the
Good
work that you do.
Yeah, thank you. Nice to meet you. Yeah.
Yes, go Tigers.
On behalf of the show, Happy New Year.
Yeah, you guys
that's
too.
right.
Thanks for having
Hey,
me.
it's Wellness Wednesday here on the 419. When we come back, we'll wrap up the show and talk about our biggest learnings of the day.
Which was nothing.
Well, we're going to find that out, Matt. Way to go. It's the 419, powered by WGTE and presented by Witro Wealth Management. We'll be right back with more Workspring Wellness Wednesday.
To me, community means connecting to others.
What will it really take to bring peace to Toledo's neighborhoods?
We're a community committed to education. Discover new ideas, dive into exciting subjects, and engage with the world around you.
It's all chapters in a book.
I would send them personally a t-shirt. Crime doesn't pay in the Old West End, pass it on. That's how we cleaned up the neighborhood.
Brings back memories that you don't think are there, you know.
WGTE Public Media invites you to get out and play day.
The people of Toledo have really become family. You know, they walk in and it was just like, hey, it's so good to see you.
Hello there and welcome to a WGTE Public Media Town Hall meeting.
WGTE, where you come to watch, listen, and learn.
I love PBS Kids.
Hey, welcome back. It's Wellness Wednesday here on the 419, powered by WGTE and presented by Witro Wealth Management. We've had a great conversation this Wednesday, courtesy of our friends at Workspring, and this time actually talking with our friends from Workspring as well.
I'm really looking forward to the series on Wednesdays. I think it's going to be some good information.
Yeah, I know that there's a lot of stuff out there, right? Wellness is a really commonly used concept. I don't know if it's considered like a word or multiple words. We'll figure that out in the next show. But it is, I mean, we're all dealing with similar things, and arming yourself with practical ways of working through it is so helpful. And it couldn't be delivered by, I'm meeting Paige for the first time, but it couldn't be delivered by people who clearly care more, right? And that's so important. You're vulnerable. This is a trust-based, part of people's lives. So great people. I've worked with Workspring for a long time, and I found almost to a person. They're just a good listening group.
What's something you're taking away from the show today?
Just do a little thing.
Yeah.
Just make a little goal and get things started this week.
See, I liked kind of the permission to fail, right? Or to say like...
No, I get it. No, that's important.
I already wholeheartedly believe in that.
That's right.
You've embraced that.
My life is a monolith to that. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, hey, as always, a pleasure hanging with you guys today. Enjoyed the conversation. Thanks for joining us as well. If you missed any portion of the show, or really any of our other shows, and you want to catch up on it, first of all, 3 different times every day, Monday through Friday, to enjoy the show. 7 a.m. on WGTE's YouTube channel, 3 p.m. on FM 91, and 6 p.m. on WGTE Connects. That's channel 30.4. And of course, as I said, if you missed any portion of the show, you can go to WGTE.org/the419, and you'll see the show there. Huge thanks to our guests. Thank you to Megan. Thank you to Paige for joining us. Thanks to Workspring for their support. And thanks to all of our incredible sponsors, Witro Wealth Management, Workspring, Toledo Refining Company, and Tarda. We so appreciate them being a part of this program and helping us bring this to the masses.
And Happy New Year.
That's right. Well said.
You can't, no, we're not going to do
Next
that
30
every
days.
show. All right. Until the end of January. But come February 1st,
it's over.
I expect to talk about the weather.
Yes.
Yep.
It's the 419, powered by WGTE and presented by Witro Wealth Management.
The 419, powered by WGTE, is made possible in part by supporters like you. Thank you.